down my hair. Hurry now and don't be late, 'cause we ain't got time to chat. You and me, we're going out to catch the latest sounds. Guaranteed to blow your mind so high you won't come down. Hey, y'all, prepare yourself for the rubber band. Man, you've never heard a sound like the rubber band. Man, you're bound to lose control when the rubber band starts to jam. Oh, this dude is out of sight.
All right. You want to do this? We're going to do this?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Woods Cast. I am Justin. With me, as per the usual, is my younger, much higher brother, Shay. You can't talk right now.
I consider it an aperitif.
He's got to take a pause for the cause while he tokes.
Yeah. What I do?
Yeah, we have to explain to everybody. Whenever I'm quiet, I'm probably drinking a beer. Whenever Shay's quiet, he's hitting the bong. So
Yeah. I'm gonna push my metaphorical glasses here. It's a vaporizer, Justin.
All right, so we haven't done this in a while. Been traveling, had some shit pop up. Lost a pupper. That sucks. But so we're back. We're gonna keep doing this until I guess everybody realizes that we're just as bad as Alex Jones and kicks us off all social media. But as it stands now, we are currently wherever Alex Jones is not. So that's fun.
Yes.
And it's not that fucking hard, people.
It's really not. I ask people go like, "Oh my God, you've got a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh man, what goes into that?" I was like, I don't know, beer."
Yeah,
dude, it's 2019, bro. I got a webcam and a headset. Let's do this. Like, that's the beauty of it. Literally anyone can do it.
Yeah, literally anyone can do it. And it's just us.
Somebody gonna listen to it?
We got dozens upon dozens of listeners.
Oh, actually, I gotta say this, and this is so great because Dave Miller, if you're watching this or listening, I received my first complaint about the podcast, and it was twofold. It was one, you haven't done one in a while, and I want to hear one, which is fine. And I explained all the reasons. They're like, okay. And then two was that he doesn't like the ones that Dave's are on because all Dave does is talk and then laugh at his own jokes. And I was like, well, that's Dave. Haven't you ever met him?
So tune in next week when we have Dave on.
Tune in next week. We're going to have Dave on because fuck you, Adam.
Well, I love the one we had Dave on, and he was like really fucking. I think he said he'd gotten high beforehand or gotten
he was super drunk. Yeah,
and he kept bringing everything back to fucking La La Land.
Oh, that was the very first one he ever did. Yeah, he was lit.
Figure out
why. I remember that because that was immediately after he had, I think, his hip surgery, which, all due respect, was super, 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 super painful and really extensive, and he had to relearn to walk and all this other bullshit. But still, don't give him any credit; he doesn't deserve it. But I believe he may have, shall we say, adjusted his painkillers for peak podcast performance and gotten stuck in an opiate loop.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was listening to another podcast the other day, and somebody asked me, like, what all goes into it? Like, we were at the beach with some friends, and they're like, what all goes into it? I was like,
well, I mean, first of all, it depends on how professional you're trying to be. Let's establish that. You can do a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. You can do a lot of work. You can buy the professional setup where, you have the audio mixer, and you've got all the proper, audio cables to go from the microphones to the central blah, blah, blah hub, and it records it, and you have an audio guy, a mixer, and a producer, and all that. It's just you and I. We really don't edit this in the center. Once I say welcome to the Woodscast until Shay says toodles, we really don't do any fucking editing unless somebody says something that they clearly wanted me to take out. When Adam didn't want his place of employment mentioned, I was like, all right,
that's a fair one.
We can lift that out for you. And shit like that. But I was listening to one of the podcasts off the Crooked Media Pod Save America guys, and at the end of what was it? It was something about was it the wilderness? Yeah, it was the wilderness where he talked about how the Democrats, the history, where they're coming from, where they're going, kind of thing. And at the end of it, like, I counted one day, there were like 22 people involved in that podcast.
Oh yeah, no, they have. It's like a legit. Now I don't know how many of those people. I'm sure a lot of those people are like advertising agents and accountants, because excuse me, they run a legit company.
Right,
like
right.
They're not just podcasters. Like they have a network. So I bet a bunch of the people. I imagine that the core group of people that work on it's like 3 or 4, but then you got all your support staff.
Right. Well, like even another good podcast that you and I like, Behind the Bastards. So like Robert Evans is in the room. Always with somebody to talk to about the Bastards. So it's
and
like
then a producer, and that's it.
Well, him and a guest and a producer and a sound guy.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess there would be a sound guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know, I mean, I fucked with the levels of this every now and then, because since your audio goes directly...
Is he seriously reading his own audiobook or playing it? That is some stupid shit.
It is dumb, and I've listened to most of them just because I didn't have anything else to listen to, but it's basically a rehash of a lot of the stuff he's done about the fascist uprising. So he's basically like taken like 5 or 6 of those episodes and consolidated them into one long narrative, which is good. It's good in some points. It lags in others, but whatever. Moral of the story is meanwhile back to the ranch, Dale said to Roy that just Shay and I drink some beers, scream into the void, and have a good time. Every now and then we let Dave on.
Yeah.
All right, so we are recording this.
You're welcome, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome, Dave. We're recording this Monday, August 26th. Okay, we've got to do the weekly numbers. And Shay, we've got to talk about a bunch of polls. So I'm going to kind of wrap that up into our first little thing here.
Woo!
And I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey, and you're not going to like where we end up.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, if you're talking about the thing with buying, like, it's one fucking poll.
No.
Okay.
That's part of the overall story I want to tell you here real quick. All right, so first things first, weekly numbers. I'm on my 4th beer. I don't know about Shay.
I've had 3 beers at Asher Brewing Company. Feel free to sponsor me, Chris Asher, if you would like. Yep. I'm what you would consider a revenue stream for that institution. So that's a few of those. I had a Miller Lite and a shot. So let's say 4 beers and a shot.
All right, cool. We are in the 948th day of the Trump administration, hence why we drink. Mm-hmm. We are 440 days out from Donald Trump solving the North Korea nuclear missile crisis. All of those missiles you see popping off in North Korea, pay no mind to those. Do not listen to your lying eyes.
Nothing to see here, citizen.
Listen to Donald Trump. New little side story. Donald Trump got busted by the White House today because apparently while he was at the G7, he mentioned because he rambles and just says whatever the fuck falls into his mayonnaise coated brain. He said that he had gotten to know Kim Jong-un very well and they become really good friends, and that the first lady had gotten to know him really well and was friends with him. And everybody kind of went, huh, what? Because there was no record of Melania ever meeting Kim Jong-un. So the White House had to come out like 40 minutes later and say, yeah, the president's full of shit. Melania's never met Kim Jong-un. One more stream and...
Killing it.
Long list of just fucking killing
Winning.
it. So far we have had 3,570 Q drops from our boy Q. And QAnon's kind of in a stall now because they shut down 8chan. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I've got a couple of people I've in online gaming groups that I've known for a few years that I've slowly watched descend into that pool of madness. And it was so funny because all I did was pop onto our Discord server to be like, hey, how do you feel about 8chan getting shut down? And then it was like, well, I mean, the meme of Charlie for Pepe Silva, and it's all the time. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's fucking hilarious. But I mean, it's all part of the plan, I'm sure, in some pretty chess game he's playing.
Well, I have the app on my phone. I check it every now and then just see what Q's talking about. And when he goes dark, like his last Q drop, quote unquote, whatever, communique, bullshit, message thrown into the ether, that was August 1st. And whenever you log into the app, it goes, Q's gone dark for a while. Don't worry. It happens every now and then. He'll be back. I'm like, you don't fucking know that. Like, the 10-year-old that runs this is probably tired of it, Yeah. He touched the boob finally. Now he's all about touching more boobs, so he's not going to do this Q thing anymore. But one of the funny things, did you hear the story about they set it up on, I don't have all the details because I kind of skimmed the article, but they some dude set up 8chan or some facsimile of it on a torrent site. So it's a website that's completely run through torrents, And so, you know, it's can't be shut down like a 8chan was. And to be very clear, 8chan was not shut down. They just got their denial of service protection removed. So every 16 minutes, somebody shut the website down for them. And so they went to this other form of, you know, like a floating web server on a torrent site. I'm really not familiar with the logistics of that. But the side effect of that is to log on to that, your IP address was not anonymous. So a lot of these guys, yeah. So a lot of these guys hopped on this new 8chan shell or whatever the hell it was, and they were like, "Yeah, fuck it, we're back, everybody." And then the people who watch QAnon and try to, you know, pull it apart were like, "You know, you motherfuckers, I have all your IP addresses." And so they started matching IP addresses to people, and people like freaked. So
I had not heard that. That's funny.
Yeah,
shit.
That was fun. I like that. Okay, so last number. It has been 2,967 days since George R.R. Martin finished Dance of Dragons. You fat fuck, get on fire.
He's got no interest in writing those books, man. How old is it? We've had this conversation. He's like in his 70s or something.
Yeah.
You know, he's just not having it.
He finally came out and was like, maybe the HBO show was not good for me and my writing. Like, no fucking shit, buddy. Dude. Yeah. All right. Polls. So we got a lot of polls. We got to tell a story with these polls. Shay and I are going to talk about these polls.
Yep.
Okay. So right off the bat, Trump's approval rating has been down. It's taken a real shot in the pills. The ones we talk about every time we do a podcast, Gallup 538 and Real Clear Politics. He's down 3 or 4 on all those. So Gallup, he's -13, 538 -12, Real Clear Politics -10 in disapproval rating. Remember we were talking about state polls, like all the states Obama flipped and everything. Those are getting a little bit better for Trump, but it's still, most of them are double digits. Like Wisconsin -14, Michigan -11, Pennsylvania -8, Iowa -11. Ohio -6. He bounced up a couple points in Florida. It was like -4, I think. Now it's -1. So like those will all change as we get closer to an actual election. But like those are the 6 states that Obama had that Trump flipped. So he's underwater in all of them to some extent. All right. So we've had a 2-week Pollercoaster here. It's been really fucking funny. Like,
Shay and I were how have I never heard the term Pollercoaster? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, go ahead. That's just, I got to acknowledge that's right. That's solid.
So Shay and I were gonna do a podcast the other day. I think I don't know. You got busy. I was fucking busy. We didn't do it. But for like the last 2 weeks, Donald Trump has been absolutely slammed in the polls, left, right, and center. And it's not doing good. So, and generally, what it shows is all of them shows him losing by either high single digits or low double digits to all of the top 4 Democratic candidates: Biden, Sanders, Harris, and Warren. All of them. So he's just going to lose all those. So one of the best ones was when Fox News. Hold on, I'll save that little tidbit for later. But of the last 6 polls. Oh, come on, website. You're killing me here. All right, so in 6 polls, it shows him losing. Oh, that was the wrong one. Down. Oh, here, this one. In 6 polls recently, he's losing to all of them, and his approval rating has gone down in the last 6 polls. So, I'm gonna find my spot here. Sorry. CNN SSRS poll. Approval 40, 50, 40, approval rating 40, disapproval 54. AP, NORC, 36 approval, down from 38. Fox News, he went from 46 to 43. Gallup, which we just talked about, he went from 43 to 41. Monmouth University poll, he went from 41 to 40%. NBC News, 43 to 45. So, like, pretty much across the board, his general approval rating has gone down about, 2 to 4%, depending on who you're looking at. The poll came out that shows that he's underwater with women, especially college-educated women,
shocked.
by like 35%.
Shocked.
Yeah, shocked. I'm shocked.
Shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
What is going on here? Why is my internet not working?
This is
good radio.
Yeah, it's good radio. Well, it's kind of like, it's no good because they can't see, but I can. So, like, in the background, I'm just. Okay,
so it's like 63% to 32% or something like that. College-educated women are against Trump now. And if you go back to 2016, the only categories of people Trump won outright were white women and white men.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been the running thing since this whole shit show started, is that he has never once done anything to expand his base. And I'm not going to, when I say base, I'm not necessarily talking about the crazies. Those are the same, but like, the voter base as a whole, like, normally you're going to want to expand the group of people that are going to be voting for you to be more than the last time you ran for president, not less.
Right.
And again, this keeps coming up. Like, everyone needs to remember that, like, the fucking vote difference is like 80,000 people, which is, in a grand scheme of an election that size, is not that much. That's doable. So to swing that many votes, especially since he's such a D-bag.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Jesus Christ. A lot of people have talked about, and that is that Donald Trump is not trying to do add anybody to his voter rolls, his voter turnout. He is just literally trying to lean into a turnout election. Mobilize his base election. And well, this is so fucking annoying.
I feel like it would also, on his part, I wonder if there's any like stratagem there. I mean, as much as he can have one. Well, his campaign advisors probably do, but about how, I wonder, are they just not worried about Democrats turning out? Because, like, if you're not trying to grow your base, you would assume that less of your opponents are going to show up than last time, or about the same amount, so the numbers work out the same way. But, like, I really do think that it's like you picked one of the only people who could lose to Donald Trump with Hillary Clinton. So, like, especially, if we end up with like a Warren, Biden, or whatever, or one of those two's on there, like, I just can't imagine people not showing up for that shit. Like, I don't know. That's, but I'm also not the president. Maybe he is super smart and it's all 40 chess.
Well, so all the polls show him losing, in his losing support across the board, basically. And
I know people will say, well, polls are inaccurate. Well, we got to talk about something. So shut up.
Well, yeah, right. Well, it's the statement of this podcast that polls are never wrong. That's why we have President Hillary Clinton here.
Yes,
right
exactly.
Now. Right,
yep.
Yeah, all right.
In the office.
Right. So the other thing Donald Trump did during this flurry of negative polls was he said a couple really weird things.
Yes, he did.
I'm gonna hold one of them to the very end, and it's about Fox News. But he also said that first of all, if Jewish Americans that voted for Democrats were disloyal to Israel. This brings up a very long-standing anti-Semitic trope of Jews having a dual loyalty to America and Israel. That was brought up by what's that guy's name? Had a weird mustache. Oh yeah, Hitler.
Yeah.
Because he used to say that there's no way Jews could be loyal to their faith. I don't think Israel was established at that point, but the state of Israel, and to the state of Germany and the German people. Trump just blows right through that and says that I guess American citizens are all loyal to Israel. They're citizens. It's really weird. And then he said that he retweeted a guy who said that everybody in Israel loves him as if he was the second coming of Christ.
That was creepy.
And or the king of Israel. So that's a little bit weird.
That's real fucking weird.
Real.
I actually didn't follow up on, like, I saw the the internet's going crazy over the second coming thing, and I didn't know what it was specifically. I didn't have the patience for it at the time, but that makes sense.
Yeah, so he said that. And so what I believe is that, I saw this on Sam Cedar show, Majority Report with Sam Cedar, and I completely agree with what he had to say. So after seeing all of these negative polls, and there's probably a lot of internal polls that say quite a lot of the same thing, that Donald Trump is losing support with his base and all the demographics that he needed and used to win in the 2016 election. It's not looking good for the 2020 election. And then he goes off on all this Jews and Israel bullshit, and I'm the chosen one. What Sam Cedar said, and I think I agree a lot, is that the internal polling shows that he's also losing support with that evangelical base.
Yep.
That pushed him over the line in 2016, because he is a ball of shit, and I still do not know why the evangelical base supports him at all, let alone champions him to be some kind of messiah or something.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole religious undertone with a lot of his presidency on the crazy people side of things, like the whole QAnon conspiracy shit, with which, you know, again, we talked about, is tied into religion and the second coming, the apocalypse, and all that dumb shit. It's so fucking weird. Like, it's so weird. I you know, and maybe it's just because I don't run those circles, but I can never think of an instance when, like, Obama was a very popular president and he did not have nearly the fandom that fucking Trump does. It's fucking weird. Like, yeah. I don't understand the celebrity. I mean, part of it may be because specifically he was a TV star for like 12 years or some shit, or 10 years, or how long his shitty show was on. But, yeah, that I'll never get that. That, like, because, like, even the you know, Obama's great and I voted for him, but that was not a perfect administration by any stretch of the imagination at all. And I didn't fucking worship the guy. He was a public servant. Like, he's an elected official, not a goddamn rock star.
Well, to his base, he is, and that's kind of the weird thing. And that's what makes all this polling, you know, kind of amusing to us, because Donald Trump loves to talk about how popular he is, how, you know, talks about his crowd size wherever he goes, talks about the tens of thousands of people that have to sit outside of his arenas wherever he goes.
That's not true, by the way.
Yeah, not at all. No. Oh, I was going to talk about it last time we did a podcast.
People do wait outside, but it's not tens of thousands of people waiting outside.
No.
That you would hear about that because it would shut a city down.
Right. But also, like, I was going to look into this last podcast, but I think I deleted it. But there was a guy showed on Twitter that you know how the framed shot of Donald Trump at his rally, where it's all the meticulously picked diverse group of people sitting beside him. You got the Blacks for Trump guy that always holds up a sign. You got the elderly women and elderly men who look like grandma and grandpa. You got the guys that look like they were in the military. You got some military guys in, you know, fatigue. Yeah. Like, a perfect mosaic of America is always right behind him in that tight frame shot when he talks about, you know, all the bullshit he talks about at his rallies. Well, some guy took a picture, like, from, like, I don't know, about 45 degrees to Trump's left. Yeah. There's all these empty seats behind him.
Yeah, I saw that. That's just hysterical. Well, it's just, and it always cracks me up because, like, people are like, well, that's fake news. I'm like, dude, if you showed me that from any other president, I would still believe it, because that is a carefully choreographed event and a shot that is aired for television. Like, of course but it's so funny because I bet if you got some different camera angles of those arenas, it'd make crowds look a lot smaller.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so one of the many polls that showed Donald Trump losing to fucking everybody was Fox News. So then Donald Trump went out and said that there's something wrong with Fox. He doesn't know what it is, but, you know, they've got fake numbers. His numbers are better. Like, he loves to say that his polling, he knows he's got the best numbers in his polling.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows what numbers are.
No, or polling, for that matter.
Or polling. He's like, hey, listen, I asked everybody in the room that was sitting with me. They said they love me. Hey, so I'm 100%.
100%. Everybody loves me, dude.
Yeah. So he said that the only place that's treating him fairly is Fox Business. And do you know who's on Fox Business, Shay? Lou motherfucking Dobbs.
Wow. Oh, that's right. He is on Fox Business, because that's where you go when you can't be on the real Fox News.
Right. That's when you're a little bit too racist or just shitty enough to not make the prime time.
Yeah.
Or in this case, you're so jowly that you're just hard to look at.
Yep.
Ad hominem, I'm sure. Yes, that's very true. But look at the man.
Yeah.
He jiggles. So, Lou Dobbs, we haven't talked about Lou Dobbs in a while, and I know how much you love Lou Dobbs.
He's my buddy.
Lou Dobbs had hit a high note last week when he said, did you see this article where the ICE officer tried to drive over some protesters to get to work?
I did not. That's
really?
news. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm busy fighting climate change one spreadsheet at a time. You know.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Well, last week, a officer in a oh shit, was it New Jersey?
That I don't know.
I'll have to look this up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up. Yeah, I want to say it was in New Jersey. So a New Jersey ICE. We'll just go with New Jersey. Everybody can correct me later. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Rhode Island, right here, Rhode Island.
Done.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
On the air fact check.
Yeah, Rhode Island ICE facility was driving, to work, and of course there were protesters outside, and they were sitting down quietly chanting and singing songs and everything about how we probably shouldn't put kids in cages just for shits and giggles. And he showed up and just drove right into them. One woman had her leg broken. Nobody was killed, thankfully. The protesters then stood up and were like, "What the fuck, dude?" And like tried to push back against the car and like scream at him, chanted things like "shame" and "shame." And then other ICE officers came out and maced these people, so that was cool. So yeah, that's just that's not a good scenario on either side, I don't think. But Lou Dobbs said that ICE officer who plowed into the protesters was within his rights because it's apparently you have a constitutional right to get to work. Everything I've ever read about cars was that, like, I don't know, pedestrians, you're not supposed to run over them or through them.
Wow, I hadn't heard that. That's fucking shit.
So Lou Dobbs went out and was like, he got all huffy and puffy. He's like, well, he was just trying to go to his job. And those people assaulted him because they wouldn't let him go to his job. And then the next day, he apparently aired a very doctored version of that, the whole video, because the whole thing was filmed. And shared an extremely doctored version of it to make it look like they attacked his truck. And then he drove into him. Like, he put the middle of the video first.
Solid.
He left out the part where they were sitting there singing quietly and chanting peacefully, and this guy drove a truck into him. And when they stood up and started banging on his hood and yelling shame at him and shame, that's where Lou Dobbs started the tape, and then got it all out of order.
That's awesome. That's classic. I mean, that's classic Fox News for you.
Yeah,
that's
Fox Business for you.
Fox Business. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. It's their business to drum up some bullshit, I guess. That is so fucking funny.
Yeah, the other thing you can do, I mean, the final point I have on this, and I wrote it down, is Lou Dobbs is a piece of shit.
Yep.
But if you ever were really bored, Shay, just like watch a supercut of Lou Dobbs defending every decision Donald Trump makes as far as the economy, because the man turns himself into a human pretzel.
Oh yeah,
it's
I feel like he's
amazing.
probably one of those guys that actually does get like talking points secretly issued to him from the White House via some underground carrier. Like, hey Lou, you're gonna say this today, and he's like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't surprise me though. Yep. All right. So, I guess we can wrap up some polling here. In a new poll that was just out today, in Joe Biden, Elizabeth Sanders and Warren and
they have fused into one liberal being.
Elizabeth Sanders and Bernie Warren are all in a three-way tie.
It's fucking. I picture that coming out more like the end of the fucking Fly, where he's just like,
kill
me.
Yeah. So in a new poll, who did this?
It was the M one, right?
Monmouth.
Yeah, that was it. I can't remember what it's called. I was calling Mammoth polls, but that's not what it's called.
Yeah, it's Monmouth. My is locked down.
I know it had Biden dropped like 13 points or some shit in that poll. Like he's now in third place, and Warren and Sanders are tied at 20%. I think is where they're at. Yeah,
I think Sanders had 20. Let me just find this thing here.
I could look it up, but I'm not gonna.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not here for logistics.
I have like one of these free antiviruses on my computer.
That's dumb.
Well, no, it usually works okay. Except that every now and then it pops up some bullshit like antivirus browser, and now I can't get that motherfucker to close. So
I actually all I really use is Windows Defender, and believe it or not, at least what are you running? Windows 10 or 7 or XP or what? Windows Defender is actually pretty solid. Microsoft is not to give Microsoft too much props, but their built-in virus shit's pretty solid this time around. I'm going to my just can see my computer explode as I say that. Just someone fucking.
Well,
this isn't on the internet yet. So
yeah, I've needed to uninstall and wipe this bullshit away for weeks, but it just really bit me in the ass tonight. So yeah. So this first one that Biden has dropped below 20%. So we got Biden at 19.
That's a big drop if you consider, because he started at like 32 or 33.
Right,
so
right,
I mean, which is to be expected over the long haul. It's just worth noting because I don't like it.
Yeah, so Biden got 19, and then Elizabeth and Bernie Sanders both have 20, and you got Kamala Harris, at 8%. So this is the first time you saw a very big drop in Biden's like approval rating, because it was just name recognition and being Barack Obama's VP, that kind of shit.
And he's also had some time to say some real stupid shit.
Yeah, and that's what he does.
But yeah, and like if you look back historically, his campaigns almost never go well.
No, and he Bidens the shit out of himself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like nobody in the like you and I are. I mean, I'm 5 years old and you are, but you know I had to remind you that he ran in 2008.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Yeah, I didn't remember.
Yeah, and that campaign just kind of just like fell apart.
And 86.
I think it was 84.
84, 80. I know he did once in the 80s and once in the 2000s, and neither of them went well.
I think the description is that in the campaign in the 80s, he was accused of plagiarizing some parts of his speeches. Sweet. And kind of quietly got out.
I mean, that should get you elected now, but go ahead.
I know, yeah. I mean, fuck, the first lady does it. Why not? Yep. And in the 2008, his campaign just face planted, just poof. Just sat there dead.
Like never even didn't even get off the ground? Not really, because I don't even remember that he fucking ran.
I mean, that's how awesome it was.
Yeah, that's how good he was, yeah.
That's how good he was. So basically this tells us that we have a full and, open primary right now. Biden's not going to walk away with it. We talked earlier today, a little bit back and forth on the Face Spaces and the My Books. Hi, Mark. That, Iowa will be key for whoever takes the Democratic. Democratic.
I'll vote for a wet shoe.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. Like that's just the thing is like, and I'll get to that here in a second. But Bernie Sanders is much better prepared to win Iowa. Maybe Elizabeth Warren can pull Iowa out. I don't know, but I just don't see Joe Biden winning Iowa. Like I don't think him just walking in and be like, "Hey, I'm Joe Biden."
Iowa's pretty great. Look at this shit. That's basically what he did. That quote is hysterical because he's like, hey, he walked in there and basically was like, hey, Iowa, this is awesome. You want me to run for president. Remember Obama? Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And the problem there being is that that Iowa are caucuses. And caucuses are extremely complicated and hard to win because you have to have people.
I caucused once and it went for Sanders in 2016. And now Colorado has a primary. Thank God. Right. Just going to a caucus fucking is stupid.
Yeah, it's like the dumbest town hall I can imagine.
Yeah, it's right. And they, at least in the place all the little community people the only people willing to stand up and volunteer to lead something like that are the most annoying shits in the room. So it's like, man.
Well, and that's the logistical problem of a caucus over a primary. Because when you have a primary, people show up and they vote for whoever's on the ballot. When you have a caucus, you need to have a dedicated person that will be at District 9 or whatever and stand up for Bernie, you're a candidate. Like you've got to make sure that's not right. Your campaign needs to make sure that they have somebody there that will stand up and caucus for that candidate. Like you just can't hope somebody's like, oh, I'm a Biden supporter, I guess I'll hop up and do it. No, you've got to have somebody already tapped, ready to do that, and they've got to be persuasive. I mean, you literally have to sit there and basically campaign for that candidate in real time. And, like some of the videos I've seen are pretty funny. Like, the different candidates caucus, and you basically take a room full of people and you basically kind of like, hey, everybody who wants, Bernie Sanders, come over here with me. And then everybody kind of like disperses, and then you've got kind of the groups in the middle that are people who are not declared for either, and that's where the caucus goers need to win them over to their candidate side.
So dumb.
And that takes time. It takes effort. It takes.
Sucks. When I caucused, there was crying involved. It was a fucking thing.
People cried?
This lady from somewhere in Europe was there, and I can't remember where from, but she was U.S. citizen now.
Okay.
But she had grown
say,
up.
She can't vote here.
No, she's a citizen. But fuck, what country? I don't remember what country she was from. I just remember we were kind of stoned, so we thought it was funny. She sounded like a Bond villain.
Democracy.
Democracy, woo! But she cried and yelled and was very emotional about Bernie calling himself a democratic socialist and saying how socialism had ruined her country and destroyed her family, and that if we didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, everybody was going to end up in work camps, and just was bawling. And you have never seen a more uncomfortable room full of sweaty, awkward men, and it was so bad. And everyone's like, all right, well, cool, this room's Bernie, so
yeah,
bye.
Kick rocks.
If we vote for Hillary Clinton, she could fuck it up, and I'll be fine. Oh, here we are. Anyway.
Yeah, so caucusing is hard, and the fact that Bernie Sanders has a really strong ground game in Iowa makes me think that without the name recognition of a Hillary Clinton, that Biden might get that just yanked out from under him, and that would be the start of the end of his campaign, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see. So you and I talked earlier. We're trying to figure out where we're going to have a Sanders Warren or a Warren Sanders ticket.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I feel like that would, that's a real good combination. And you can almost kind of feel like they're playing to that, like that might be a possibility, because they're the only two, and they haven't really gone after each other. Probably partially because they're basically the same candidate in a lot of ways.
Right. They're going for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Warren could be considered the more corporatist candidate because of just her stance. Not, I mean, she's not a corporate candidate. That's really bad nomenclature on my part, because she wrote and pushes legislation to actually dismantle corporations, strength to fuck with unions and fuck with people. But she's more of a centrist Democrat than Bernie is, if you're just going to compare apples and apples to apples.
And I mean, that's a good balancing act, I think. And they're both, and honestly, I think what's really happening is they're both being careful not to piss off the other's voters, because those are the only two that are up there that realistically, if Warren doesn't get it and Bernie does, all the Warren voters are going, that's how that's going to go down. Like I don't. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's still some of those Bernie or bust bros that won't vote for anybody but Bernie Sanders because they're assholes. But whatever. Well,
you put him as the vice president.
Yeah.
Like, fine, fuck it.
Woo! Yeah. Either way, it works out as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't really fucking. I don't know. I just can't. I mean, the polling numbers are one thing, but like none of the other candidates I give a shit about. So I don't really. I want it to be one of those two. That's me though.
Well, Harris, I have no problem with Kamala Harris. Really, she has some baggage because she was a prosecutor, but she also can explain that very eloquently. Donald Trump said he grabbed someone by the pussies like 8 days before the election. So I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing, and it's just brought up like I would say like 10 minutes before we started recording this podcast, is that I am getting really fucking tired of Trump supporters either trying to weasel around and say like, hey, you can't prove I voted for him, but I'm going to just defend him all day long.
Yeah.
Like they won't admit they voted for him. And then the other thing that really is annoying me is they're like, I can't believe you guys are running those candidates. I'm like, nobody's asking you.
Yeah, shut up, dude. Oh man, there's who was it? Didn't somebody else announced in the primary though, right?
We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there. That's next up. Old Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh.
Yeah, but like, there's so many of these Republican people, like Trump supporters, are like, oh, I can't believe you Democrats are running those people. I'm like, hey, why don't you fucking stay in your own lane? Nobody's asking
this
you
guy.
guys.
Look at who you ran. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
The guy you voted for wants to nuke fucking hurricanes.
I wouldn't even have a problem with you supporting them. So if someone comes up to me and is like, yo, Donald Trump's a dipshit, but I like him, like, that's fucking fine. But don't come at me and be like, oh, he's a great president. He's a really noble man. No, he's not. By any objective definition, nobody's going to tell you that about him. He's such a piece of shit.
There is a big swath of Donald Trump's base who will say, I don't agree with everything he's doing, but I like the way he's doing it. And that's fine. Like, that's your personal fucking preference.
I respect that. That's fine.
There you go. Yeah, that's your personal fucking preference. That's fine. But the people that, like, A, won't admit they voted for him, and then B, are shitting all over the Democratic candidates, I'm like, you can go right the fuck off. Okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, yeah, I'm at least very honest with my liberal roofuckery. Like, I'm not out there being like, I don't know, maybe I should give Donald Trump a chance this time. No, fuck that shit. Like, I already said that I'll vote for any fucking Democratic candidate they put up. Like, you know, I mean, the Democratic candidate has to have sexually assaulted less than 17 people. You know, 17 women. And, I mean, we're good to go. Like, that's the world we live in right now.
Yeah,
I mean, there are 17.
The bar there, dude. Oh,
yeah,
man,
there's
the
like
bar's
17
solo right
women
now.
that have accused Donald Trump of a sexual assault, and then so like as long as the Democratic candidate is like what, a dozen or less. I mean,
Here's your
we're
launch
fucking
code,
golden.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah. God damn it.
Or ma'am.
Yeah, or ma'am. Yeah. Yeah, like, oh god, these people sit on such high horse. They're like, you know, he's the president. It's like, I have audio of him saying he's sexually assaulted women.
Yeah,
climb off your high horse there, buddy. All right. I need to go get some beer before we talk about old Joe Walsh. So I want to take a pause for the cause here, and let me grab some beer. All right, so we are back. I got some beers. Jeez, had beers.
David Koch is dead. Woo!
Yeah. We got to talk about that in a minute too. But first we got to go to Joe Walsh, who just yesterday, I believe, Sunday, announced he would primary Donald Trump.
Yep.
For those of you who are not familiar with Joe Walsh, he's a former congressman from Illinois. He is just as much of a jackass as Donald Trump.
Yes.
And he has several.
Hey man, if he peels off a couple thousand votes or something,
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. So here's the thing: like, he was part of the Tea Party. Excuse me. He was part of the Tea Party wave in the 2010 election.
Yeah.
So he was one of those guys that came in because the government was spending too much. We'd elected this black guy that was spending everybody's money, and he just couldn't handle it. So he was that Tea Party wave. And just today, I don't want to put any words in the mouth. This is just today he said, "Hey, I don't consider myself racist, but I've said a lot of racist stuff on Twitter, for which I apologize." It's like, okay.
Is that his exact words?
Well, yeah. Let me bring up the full little doodad here. I added it in just a minute ago. Like, he said it. I saw the article in Axios just the other day. Where are you on here? Oh, fuck you.
We are so good at this.
Well, like, I got like half of my computer. Here.
Yeah.
It's like half of my computer's like, you know, tripping over its own dick here. I wouldn't call myself racist, but I've said racist things on Twitter. Those are his exact words.
Potential president of the United States, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, okay, so why?
That's amazing.
Okay.
That is amazing.
Right. So first of all, I have called.
This is the conservative. Jesus
right.
Christ.
So right now, this is the second person to primary Donald Trump. The first one,
honestly, I kind of respect that. I mean, yeah, I'm not racist. I just say racist stuff online.
Right. So you know, Joe Walsh is a former congressman from Illinois. He was from Illinois' 8th district. He came in, like I said, in the Tea Party wave of 2010. He liked to talk about how we spend too much money. Everybody should have a gun, and there should be term limits. Now, he was term limited in that Tammy Duckworth kicked his ass right the fuck out of Congress the first time he was up for re-election. He just got trounced the shit out. And but he did stuff in that election. Like, so what has she really done? Yeah, she got shot down in a helicopter and she lost both her legs in service to our country. But what has she done since then? And everybody was kind of like, oh, like literally,
dude.
Everybody was literally like, I don't know, kind of that, you know. Like,
that was pretty much it. Like, damn.
That thing she did right there. And so Joe Walsh is a local, I'm coming to you guys here from Chicagoland. He's a local talk radio show host. He's got that 2-hour slot between after Sean.
So is this one of those shows that you mainline?
I watch it. I watch it. I listen to it on my way home from work every now and then. And to Joe Walsh's credit, he does like to hear from a lot of people. He says on his radio show a lot, like, you've got, like, conservatives, stop watching Fox News. You need to watch some MSNBC. I hear what the other side says. Democrats, watch more Fox News. Like, you got to mix it up. And so, like, I'll be on my way. I have called into a show several times, and I've talked to Joe Walsh. And mainly on that topic, I'll be like, I want to hear from people who listen to both sides of the aisle. And I'll call in, I'll be like, hey, Joe, long-time listener, I agree with, like, 3% of the shit you say. And he laughs, and now it's like, he's like, so what do you listen to, Justin? I'm like, well, I listen to this, and this, I listen to all of it. And he's like, why do you do that? It's like, well, I can pretty much tell you what Rachel Maddow was going to say on a given night because I agree with that. I know that, that stands. But I don't need to see as the counterpoint how a Sean Hannity or a Lou Dobbs or an Alex Jones will, like, try to, digest the news of the day. And he said he'd send me a t-shirt. Never sent me a t-shirt.
Oh,
but
you cost yourself a vote there, bud.
I know. So, but he has said things like the Second Amendment is the most important amendment because it defends all the other amendments.
I'll be honest, I kind of like his style,
though. I know, like, and that's one of the things. He outright called Barack Obama a Muslim. He said,
like, if you're gonna be a shithead, be a shithead.
Yeah, like he said that if I think it was a tweet. I think he said on Twitter that if Donald Trump lost the 2016 election, he would grab his musket. Like, he got a lot of press for that.
That's okay. I do remember him now. I remember that. Yeah, okay.
And the reason that I would like to talk about this, not only that I listen to Joe Walsh on a semi-regular basis, and I missed his show today, but I'm curious of whether or not he'll be able to keep it going while he's running for. I don't think he's allowed to, because it would be considered a campaign donation or something from the company, whatever.
Yeah.
But he is going to attack Trump very loudly, and in similar ways that Trump has made his bones as president. I mean, Walsh has already admitted, like, listen, I helped make Trump a thing. Like, I supported him. I championed him. I used my platform to support his bullshit. And he's like, and I fucked up. I made a mistake. He's horrible. He's erratic. He's cruel. He lies. Like, so this is Joe Walsh. Like, Joe Walsh is going to attack Donald Trump on the same, kind of playing field that Donald Trump operates in. Whereas the other guy who's already declared several months ago, Bill Weld, the libertarian guy who always runs like every year.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to him?
He's very quietly going, "Hey, I'm running for president." It's basically all he's doing. Yeah. He goes on very polite. He says, "I would like to be your president."
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you. No, please don't stand up. Don't do that.
Please clap.
Yeah. But yeah, so, like, he's gonna go right at Donald Trump. It's gonna be funnier than fuck.
Now, let's be clear. This guy is a piece of shit. He's just much more entertaining than Donnie Moscow.
He's so, like, and the thing that makes Joe Walsh tolerable is that he will ride a crest of, like, we should listen to all sides. And I think he does like a monthly show with a local black pastor, where he's like, let's talk about race. Let's just sit down and talk about it. But then he'll just up and say, like, well, I'm okay saying that Barack Obama's a Muslim. He's just lying about it. As if that was a problem. Like, you had John McCain take the microphone out of that elderly woman's hand when she's like, well, I can't trust him. He's a Muslim. And, John McCain's like, nope. He's a good man. I just disagree with him on some policy points. Where, for John McCain to have batted 1,000 there, he said, and what if he was a Muslim?
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh has already crossed that bridge and shat on it. So it will be hilariously... I mean, like, he's going to fight Trump, like I said, in his own world of dipshittery.
Yeah, it's gonna. I'm really hoping there's some great back and forth on Twitter.
Oh,
It's gonna
yeah.
get stupid. And again, I
want
want to acknowledge that this is the problem with politics is we're talking about this like it's a fucking a sporting event. But anyway,
right.
Well,
and
but
that's
acknowledging that. Moving on.
Yeah, well, no, but you have a great point there, and things like I'm not on Twitter a lot. I just like.
Oh, I don't have a Twitter. I just follow. I have friends that will send me crazy tweets, and then some of the news feeds I'll follow. If anything fun happens, they'll be like, "Hey, look at this funny tweet." I don't.
Right. Yeah. So, but Joe Walsh is epically on Twitter, and so is Donald Trump. So that is where worlds will collide.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be fun. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. In other news, dipshittery. I know you wanted to talk about this. I am very intrigued. Apparently, Donald Trump wants to bomb hurricanes with our tactical nuclear arsenal.
Here's what I love about this, is that everyone is talking about how dumb of an idea this is, and it is.
It's a dumb idea.
This is not a new idea. This is from the Eisenhower era. The idea that you could nuke a hurricane. The idea...
Let's
back
up. Let's back up to the point where when we initially tested these weapons, there was a small fraction of scientists that were worried we would set the atmosphere on fire. There were a couple guys. There were a couple of guys in the back of the room that were like, "Hey, are we sure we're not going to ignite the oxygen in the atmosphere?"
That's insane.
And they were kind of like, "Probably not.
It should be fine." Yeah.
From a physics background, who knows nothing about meteorology, I would have to say that detonating a nuclear bomb inside a hurricane would disrupt the flows of hot and cold air that cause a hurricane to be a problem. A quick Google shows that I am absolutely wrong. Apparently, the orders of magnitude of just heat energy that is exchanged and moved around in a hurricane is like 10 times what you'd have to hit a hurricane with 10 nuclear bombs.
I love it.
Like,
so
that's just straight up like
insane.
Thermodynamics that I was not fucking aware of. I was like, yeah, so like I just thought like you blow the bomb up, all the wind scatters everywhere, and you disrupt that swirling hot cold vortex that causes a hurricane. Apparently, the magnitude of hot cold difference would not even be dented by a nuclear weapon. Not to mention all of the plant life, sea life.
Everything, and then you just have swirling radioactivity everywhere, dude. I love the idea of this like atomic hurricane zapping people with lightning and giving them superpowers. Oh man, that shit's hysterical. That is one of and this is actually something that I looked into a while ago. That's why when he said it, I was like, oh, that's awesome. A while ago, there was an open call of like, and then when I say a while, I mean like, I think it was like the 40s or something, maybe or 50s. I don't know, remember how. But a while ago, hey guys, how can we protect the coast from hurricanes? And there's like, there was one dude who his idea was a bunch of diesel-powered fans up and down the coast to just blow the hurricane back out. There's another one that's actually, I think it's a Microsoft idea. Bill Gates came up with it. And it literally revolves around having.
Does it make the hurricane's operating system totally unwieldy and annoying?
Kind of. The idea being that you would send huge tankers in that would pump a ton of cold water into the ocean underneath of it, and it would mess up that same thing that the bomb's supposed to do. And then there's another guy who wrote a paper about how you could do the exact same thing as the Bill Gates guy, except it's straight up Futurama. You just put a giant ass ice cube in the water underneath the hurricane, and it would disrupt it. Like if you look into it, there's so many dumbass ideas. The nuke one's the best though. That's hysterical. That's this like, all right, fuck it, let's nuke it.
Hyperbole is great because on paper a lot of things are possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
On paper a lot of things are possible until you have to go into a lab and connect thing A to thing B, and you realize that not only do they not connect, but the cord that connects them weighs 500 pounds. It's like you're just fucked from jump, and you're like, but this looks so great when I wrote it out on the dry erase board. You know, what the fuck, you know?
You nuke it, and the heat, and the change. Yeah, it's
right. Like the giant ice cube is great. Where are we getting the ice cube?
That's what the article about that said, was like, you'd basically have to chip off massive chunks of glaciers and haul it out in front of the hurricane.
Well, we're already doing that, so why not? Why not? Yeah, so that kind of shit's just funny. Other thing Donald Trump said just before he came on the podcast was that he's really pushing hard to have his Doral. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Doral.
Oh, the G7 summit on his property?
Yeah, to have the next G7, because, you know, of course, Russia's out of it. And Trump keeps saying, like, hey, let my buddy join. And they're like, fuck off, dude. Like, really fuck off.
No.
To have the next G7 summit at his property.
Nope.
Because that won't benefit him at all, right?
No, he won't make any money off of that.
God damn it.
Yeah. When is the next? That's like not... Are those every year?
Next year. Yeah, it's every year.
Yeah, it's every year.
It's every year. And they sneak up and they go away because it's a lot of, we agree to stop trying to rape the planet while then the countries break up and just slowly kind of still rape the planet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's all that kind of, you know, Alex Jones is very worried about the New World Order, and it's not very effective from what I can see, so I don't know what he's so worried about.
Yeah.
But... yeah, they do this, and then, you know, but Donald Trump has made these kind of funny because he went to the last one, his first one as president, and he just kind of like, there's that epic picture of him sitting with his arm crossed like a little fucking toddler, and everybody's like, listen, dude, you got to work with us here.
Yeah.
And then,
we don't work for you, bud.
Yeah, and now he's like, he goes and he's like having a great time with Boris Johnson, the new prime minister of.
Oh, that piece of shit.
Yeah, he's such a dipshit.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so they come and go, but the fact he's like, we should just do this at my place. Like, god damn it.
No.
Yeah. Like, I remember back in the day when we were living in Lexington, and we'd go out with a bunch of friends, and, you know, we have a keg. Well, I built a kegerator in 2008. And people are like, well, where are we going after this? And people are like, well, let's go back to Justin's house. He's got a kegerator. I'm like, thanks. Awesome.
That's what you say. All right, give me $10 or $20 or whatever it is.
I mean, people would kick in a little bit, but I was just always kind of like, why are y'all volunteering my shit?
Yeah, that's not my shit. Did you ever just feel spiteful and go, no?
Nah.
Yeah, see, there it is. Yeah, I do like to drink. All right, fine.
I was gonna drink there regardless.
Yeah, I was gonna drink in my house regardless.
Yeah, I was gonna drink in my house regardless. But like, this is the version of that is Trump going, I wish you just go back to my place because, I mean, I got beer. I mean, it's gonna cost you guys $1,000 a day and gonna make me a shitload of money. But
let's go back to my place.
Yeah, fucking shit. All right. Last but not least, well, we can talk about fun stuff for a while here. I mean, we're not like crazy. It's only not crazy on time here, but we gotta talk about the Shay. Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
He is not with us anymore.
He died. He did.
I know. I miss him. I know you miss him.
I do. I see him in the face of. I was going to say the face of every child on the street, but then I thought about it. That's not good.
That's not good at all. So, we were going. This was. I saved this from last time we were going to do a podcast and got distracted. So Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell Saturday morning, August 10th, and the world was aflame with conspiracy theories.
It's been some of the shit has been pretty fucking funny. I mean, obviously the one that keeps coming up that I think cracks me up is that, the Clintons paid to have him assassinated in jail. That's the big one that,
Well, and I say bullshit because if Anthony Weiner's walking around, there's no fucking way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if Anthony Weiner's walking around still texting 15-year-old girls, there's no fucking way that the Clintons rubbed out Epstein and didn't rub out Anthony Weiner.
No. Yeah, that shit is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It sounds like what it's shaping up to be is that there were a couple of incompetent guys on guard that fell asleep. He killed himself while they were asleep. And that's
so he was on suicide watch because he had apparently attempted suicide beforehand. Mm-hmm. He was taken off suicide watch either early Friday or late Thursday and left to his own devices. The guards, like you said, they admit to falling asleep and not checking on him for hours, where he was in a very protective. He was in the shoe there, and in my head, I see the guards falling asleep on each other like Ross and Joey did when they
and they wake up, you know.
They wake up like just snuggling each other, and like, man, that's the best nap I ever had. But anyway, like you said, the investigation now centers around how was he left to his own devices long enough to commit suicide, being one of the most, of course, one of the most notorious people in custody at that time. The medical examiner ruled it was a death by suicide by hanging. Cause of death was a broken vertebrae, which can happen from hanging. A lot of forensics and homicide detectives say, like, we see this a lot with strangulations as well, but the medical examiner says no. It was a hanging. I am not. Now, okay, and the other part of the investigation, which I don't have here, but I read separately, was that there is now an investigation. Apparently, the like you said, the officers that were in charge of watching him lied about that they lied, or what do I want to say? They falsified records that said they checked on him.
Okay.
Yeah, they falsified records that said they checked on him when they were napping, like Ross and Joey, and the investigation is into them lying, which, of course, whenever you're busted at work, your just knee-jerk reaction is to fucking lie. You fucked up at work, you're busted, you just lie. And now they're going to go into why these guys lied. And I'm almost positive it's going to come out to be that they lied because they fucked up.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Shay, Alex Jones has a different take on this.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Shocked, I tell you, right?
Shocked.
So what Alex Jones has done is he has, now this will of course shock you, is that Alex Jones has taken this parts of the news that help his narrative and ignored ones that do not. So on Thursday, Alex Jones said to everybody, including me who was listening, the following Thursday, right before the medical examiner announced that it was a strangulation. He announced that it was, everybody knows it. It's been verified by the news media. It's been verified by the government that he was murdered, and there will be an investigation. And everybody's like, "You're exactly right. This is crazy." That was on Thursday. Friday morning, right? Like 2 hours before Alex Jones' show. So I know he fucking saw this news. The medical examiner came out and said he hung himself. It was a suicide. Alex Jones didn't even talk about Epstein that entire fucking day. Like,
hilarious.
Just kept talking about how, like, there's too much fluoride in our water and all this other bullshit. He's got some other narrative going about it. He's got these two asshats that used to work at Google that he's convinced have broken Google. Like, they've got the document dump that will break Google and show that they are targeting conservatives over liberals and everything. One guy went on for one segment and was like, "Fuck this Alex Jones shit, I'm never coming on again." The other guy, Kevin Voorhees is his name. He is a fervent white nationalist and anti-Semite. After he went on Alex Jones, he had to scrub his Twitter because he kept using Zog everywhere. Zionist occupied government.
Yeah.
So that guy's an asshat. He just goes on Alex Jones. From that Thursday to Friday, Alex Jones just switched narratives and he's been really hammering this Google thing as if Epstein never existed.
That's awesome. That's about right, though.
Yeah, about right. But on Thursday, and this is the coup de grace, this is the best thing. Alex Jones said, without any equivocation, that Jeffrey Epstein had a dead man switch. Everybody knew this. So that Jeffrey Epstein is alive in protective custody, and whoever they killed, they did the body switch.
The body.
Yeah.
Shit. This okay. Well, now at least now I know what's really going on. Now the truth is out there, and Alex Jones has given it to me.
I mean, did you have any real did you ever really want to lean into that conspiracy?
What, for Epstein?
Yeah.
Honestly, it hasn't. Honestly, at least in the shit that I check, it's not really I mean, the people that want to run with that stuff are always going to run with it, but it doesn't seem to have gotten a lot of traction. I think everybody's not really surprised that he fucking was going to go to jail, so he killed himself.
Forever.
Like, forever. Like, you were going to go away forever. And you're a child, you fuck with kids, so you're gonna get your ass destroyed, and people are gonna try to murder the hell out of you. And he's famous too, so like that, like going to jail for him would have. He just spent the rest of his life in solitary confinement, basically. That would have by himself, or at least whatever. But and I also I think he got that sweetheart deal back in the day, and now that everyone knows about it and is pissed off about it, like he knew he was gonna get raked over the coals, so he was like, I'm out,
yeah.
bye. Yeah.
I agree.
And maybe it's even as bad as those guards falling asleep because they're like, well, what if he kills himself? Oh, fuck it. If fucking pedophile kills himself, then pass out.
The farthest I'm willing to even lean into that conspiracy lane is that, let's just say that one of the people that's involved is like Prince Henry or Prince Peter or some one of the royals that I was not even fucking aware of until it came up that he might have been banging underage banging kids. I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. It's always fun to find out about you when you've been banging kids. But when his name came up, everybody's like, well, the royals won't let this happen. Okay, great. The most I'm even willing to lean into that conspiracy is that, let's say the royal family cut out or made it possible for him to kill himself.
Yeah.
Told these guards, like, hey, go take a $500,000 shit.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
and if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. Like, they didn't hand him a knife. They didn't give him the gun to blow his head off or anything. They just left him alone, made sure he was alone long enough to kill himself. That's as far as I'm even going to fucking even try to throw a stone into that water. Because...
And I even think that's a hell.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not like you wouldn't immediately be able to figure out, like, wow, these guys are fucking doing all right all of a sudden. They don't seem really stressed about losing their jobs at all.
Yeah. Yeah, there's already an investigation of their bank accounts. Like that happened the next day.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like before it was even public knowledge that shit had started.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when they reported it, but then it's like, it's like, well, we weren't really sure if they were too upset about the mistake, but they
drove us a Raleigh home.
They did have champagne in the internet. Let them go. Yeah. They cracked a bottle, But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I could see that, but I again, I feel like it's probably something as innocuous as them being like, fuck him. If he kills himself, he kills himself. He's not going anywhere. Yeah.
And now they're busted for it, so they, and then they falsified records, and I mean, if I had $1 for everything I've written down on a government form that wasn't 100% accurate.
Yeah. I get that.
Come on now.
Yeah. Well, I could even see it being something as stupid as like they joke about him killing himself and then actually fall asleep and wake up and go, "Oh no,"
Oh no.
Womp womp.
Yeah. All right. So that's fun. Fun stuff. Gotta do some fun stuff. I finally got around to watching Upgrade.
I still have not seen that shit. I'm
Really?
glad No, I have it. I have a copy, and I've got to fly to a wedding in Vermont on Friday. That might be what I watch.
Listen, Dickbag, this is like the second thing you've recommended to me
I know.
that you haven't watched.
Yeah.
Or
whatever,
read.
dude. That's fine.
Yeah. No, Upgrade's good.
For you.
It was fun. I guess it did work out for me. Good job. No, it's fun. It does not end the way you think it is. It does have a lot of really fun, like, I guess you would call them fatalities.
Yes, that's what I've got.
As he just wails on people. So for those of you, this is a movie, Upgrades, from like 2018. It was late last year. A man and his wife are in a car accident. Some thuggery pulled them out of the car, murder his wife, and then shoot him in the neck and sever his spinal cord. Bill Gates type weird character, maybe. I'm thinking more of a who's the guy that built the planes that were like really
Howard Hughes,
yeah, really eccentric billionaire kind of character. Implants a chip in his spine that allows him to reconnect with the lower part of his body, and he goes on a vigilante run. And there's a lot of great film work. The thing I liked about a lot of it is they track his eye line.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of shots where the camera will stay level with his eyesight
That's
and
cool.
So,
that always gives a neat effect. Yeah.
So like when he's fighting and everything's rotating, it's a real neat effect. But it's even really striking when he like walks out of a room and like just the normal up and down of your body that you correct for. Yeah, that was good. So,
so you're welcome.
I mean, I can't believe you haven't fucking watched it. Whatever.
Really, Justin? Really, you don't believe that?
Actually, I do because you're a dickbag.
Yeah.
The Boys. Where are you on The Boys?
Oh, I finished it.
You finished? Yeah.
See, I can't watch a 2-hour movie, but I can watch a 10-hour TV.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, Rachel and I finished it last night. It's fun as shit.
It's super good. Yeah, I really like it.
I really need to get into the comics.
Yeah, I want to see what difference is, because my understanding is in the comics, transparent isn't in the comics, and it's instead translucent. Translucent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but yeah, I'm gonna have to read it. I went to order it online at least, and it was everywhere I went, it was sold out because this was like the week the show dropped. Everybody's like, "The hell is this?" Because I had that. The only real reason I wasn't gonna read the comic, I didn't really give a shit. But then I realized it's fucking Garth Ennis. So I was like, wait, back up here. This is Garth Ennis. Okay, I'm now officially interested because I saw it on the credits for the first show, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Have you ever read The Pro?
No.
That's also Garth Ennis, and the premise is that look it up. If you want to see something funny, look up the Pro plane scene or something. But basically, it's a kind of a parody of the Justice League again, very similar to The Boys, except this prostitute is given superpowers as part of a bet by a passing godlike entity, and she's a prostitute that services all the superheroes. So the comic opens up with her giving the Superman equivalent a blowjob, and then when he blows his load, it fires through the roof of a building and takes the wing off a plane, shit like that. It's real fun.
We should also say that Garth Ennis is the guy who wrote Preacher.
Preacher, yes, of Preacher fame. Yes, this is Preacher.
Yeah, and Preacher is one of the most balls to the walls comic.
It's just so weird. Love it. It's so great.
And the show, have you been watching the show?
I haven't, and it's about to wrap up, right?
Yeah,
last season.
This is the final season.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It is solid because it is fun as shit. You know, they're constantly going back and forth to hell. They let Hitler out of hell. Hitler then takes over hell.
Yeah, it seems like it's really silly.
Yeah, it's super silly, but it's god awful fun. I'm gonna watch the latest episode when we get off here. When I've had 2 pitchers of beer. That's when you get into the vodka. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. I've been on a real hard anime kick the last couple days, so I've watched some of the weebiest bullshit. Fucking My Hero Academia is the premise of the show.
I need to get into that.
I mean, go for it. See what you think. It's pretty fucking bad in terms of it's every single trope you'd expect from a Shonen Jump, which is your Dragon Ball Z, your Naruto, right. Your Bleach. You've got your power levels and different villain levels. It's everything you expect from that, just kind of kicked up a notch, and they wink at you. They're like, remember, you fucking nerds. But it's the premise. Fucking nerds. But it's super weeby. The premise is that it's in the future, there's some 80% of people have some sort of superhuman ability, or as they call it, a quirk. And
right.
The top tier people. Of course, once people started getting abilities I can disintegrate anything I touch, crime was out of control. So Hero Institute so now there's a class. It's a school you go to become a superhero, and it's so fucking silly and dumb. And honestly, it doesn't. The first season's 13 episodes, and I didn't get into it till 5 in. I was just all right, fine, fuck it. It's pretty. The animation's really good. So I was like, all right, this is neat. But I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna start season 2 tonight.
I'm currently working my way through. I got a lot of shit on my plate right now. I'm trying to get through a lot of Gundam Wing, which is always fun.
I have not watched Gundam in a minute. I've always thought about going back to watch those.
Yeah, Gundam Wing's good. I found an article a while ago, and it was because there's 18 different Gundam Wing series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I of course got into it with Gundam Wing, and then of course Endless Waltz, which is the late 90s. So I get pounds of beers and watch it.
Sounds good.
Then there's Gundam Seed and the newer ones, which are more technically computer animated shit like that.
I loved. Honestly, dude, my favorite was always G Gundam.
Yeah,
I fucking love G Gundam. G Gundam's the real crazy one. It's so good.
I see, like, that's on my list. Like, I'm trying to work through because there's an article. It's like all the Gundams you should watch and the ones you should skip because they suck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to work through that, but I'm also trying to work through Evangelion because I never watched that all the way through.
I actually
Neon
recently watched
Evangelion.
that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Evangelion's good, but I don't know. It's not. It's
I mean,
a lot. It's not as much giant robot stuff as it is like pontificating on the meaning of humanity and religion and society. Like, it's good. It's a little weird. It's a little abstract, and it's just not my style. Like, a lot of people, like, you'll get to the ending and you'll see what I mean. So
yeah. I kind of know where it's going, but it's the anime I like. I like the style of the anime.
Oh no, the anime, especially for its time, it was fucking blew everything else out of the water.
The other thing that I am like all about right now, and I don't know if you've gotten into this, is the Netflix series of Ultraman.
I've heard it's good.
I'm like in the third or fourth episode right now. It's very good. It's very like, of course we've picked a new Ultraman. He doesn't know whether one needs to be Ultraman or not. But then of course he has to bitch man slap the new alien that shows up. Like, yeah, like that's the show that I watch. Like, I keep it. That's in my hopper when I watch like tonight. I'm gonna go watch. Like tonight after we get this podcast done, I'm gonna watch the latest episode of Preacher. Might watch the latest episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I don't know, but at the end of the night, I end up with a show that's ended and a drink that's 3/4 full. So I just kick up Ultraman because it's 20 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like weird fucking like special powers things they're teaching him. Like, it's fun. It's so goddamn simple.
So here's real quick. You are 5 episodes in. Has he gotten giant yet?
No.
Damn it.
Not giant yet.
Man, fuck.
Not
That's always the best part is when he fucking grows.
Exactly.
Anyway. Yeah.
Now, before we leave, we have two things that we do have to talk about, or they will cut a corner off of our nerd card. One, apparently, Sony and Disney are gonna cut Spider-Man in half.
Yep. I don't understand how this is. I really haven't followed it much. My understanding was he's just not going to be in the MCU anymore.
Exactly.
But there are still going to be Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland.
Exactly right.
Is Disney making them or is Sony making them?
Sony's making them.
Then they'll be garbage probably.
Yeah. So what has happened is that the last round of negotiations between Sony and Marvel, aka Disney,
aka every other company that owns the world, yeah.
Right. Has stalled and failed out because I guess they did not make any money from Avengers Endgame. Is that the only thing?
I've no idea, yeah.
There was only billions of dollars made from that. Okay, whatever. So the talks fell down, and so now Sony, who owns the rights to the Spider-Man intellectual property, has said that they will yoink Spider-Man out of the MCU, which is problematic because the MCU has had set Spider-Man up as the new Iron Man. As the new heart of the Avengers and MCU.
I don't know if they really. I don't think that was. I don't know because they
were going that direction with it.
I mean, long term. I mean, but they've got Reed Richards now, so they don't need that shit.
Right. All of these moving parts can you can put it in the Fantastic Four and make them the core of the Marvel world, no problem.
Well, I mean, that's how it actually was for Infinity War. Was Reed Richards? That's Reed Richards was the science mind, and Tony Stark was a drunk. I mean, he was smart, but he was a drunk. Anyway, I saw that. That's dumb. I mean, you never know. They might, if it means I get decent standalone Spider-Man movies, I'm okay with it. I don't give a shit. I don't really care that he's in the MCU as much as I like watching him in the MCU.
What this means is there's no barrier now to Spider-Man Venom movies.
Well, I think Sony had already said they were going to do that shit.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So
the second these talks fell apart, they said, well, now we're doing Venom Spider-Man movies.
I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how they plot hole spack all that shit. I guess it could jump from him to him, from that and then back to Brock, but. Because he never really did the Spider-Man swing and shit in the he wasn't in that movie. They could still polish him up and make him better, or even just have him like see Spider-Man and copy him. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to do that.
I mean, we said that in another podcast where like he could just be watching Spider-Man on TV and be like, he's a hero. We should be like that.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Or Eddie Brock shakes Spider-Man's fucking hand at some point.
Yeah. Who knows? That's fine.
Just physical contact. Yeah. We're Shay and I are not going to sit out of the movie because of the plot hole spot.
No.
Yeah. So the other thing I thought was funny about this is there's a call on the interwebs for them to just rename him Night Monkey in the MCU.
Who?
Night Monkey.
Oh, Night Monkey. That is fun. That's fun. From the last movie. God,
I like that.
Movie, yeah.
I would love to see a team of lawyers walk into a room and be like, we've created a new character. His name is Night Monkey. Deal with it.
He has spider powers. Yeah.
So that's fun. And then also, in the vein of the Storm Area 51, we're going to see them aliens. There's now a Facebook group to storm Sony and take back Spider-Man.
I did see
As
that.
if he is a physical person that is there.
Or that they've got like... It's like a piece of paper in a vault, and whoever owns that has the rights to Spider-Man.
Exactly. This is not the deed to Spider-Man that you can take. I saw that.
Justin, I do believe this may have been started as a joke.
Well, I'm sure it was, and I liked it. I showed my interest in it, and then whoever runs that page on Facebook blew my fucking ass up with notifications. I was like, oh, fuck this shit. Like, you guys are so dumb. So dumb.
That's amazing.
It was not amazing. It was like every fucking 40 minutes.
All
right. They're like, new plan. I'm like, no, there is no plan. You get
so in a similar vein. All right, so this is I'm gonna look so good at the end of the story. I am so good. Well, no, but it's just real stupid. I'd had some beers and I came home. I was sitting on the couch and I was like, waiting for my PlayStation to boot up or whatever, and was fucking flipping through Facebook and there was some ad for some. It was some like. Kind of like you see with like Old Spice and Dollar Shave Club. It was like a quirky, funny ad for this beard trimmer device that you could trim your balls with and not cut your balls with trimming it.
Right.
And I just fired off a comment. I was like, hey, man, why don't you just man up and use a razor? I was like, smooth as eggs for years, and I've never cut myself. That's the comment I left. And then within 20 minutes, I had people messaging me from their marketing team being like, thanks for commenting. And for 2 days, I was getting messages about shaving my nuts on Facebook.
It's so funny what
I was like,
what
whoa!
will tip off that paradigm. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, God. All right, and then one last thing. I don't know. Have you seen the new Star Wars trailer?
The Mandalorian?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Is there an actual Star Wars trailer for like the new Star Wars?
Yeah.
No, I saw the Mandalorian.
Okay, so we're not gonna play it because that always fucks us up here.
Works.
It never fucking works. But two things that were kind of revealed in this new trailer for about a half second. And
it came out like 14 hours ago. Huh.
Yeah.
Watch it chill. Neat.
And they're really great. So, one, they apparently dropped the idea of a dark ray.
The first thing that comes up is a little. It's probably.
Right.
It's gonna be from like a fucking vision, or it's gonna be like when Luke gets his face in the Vader man. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. And the other thing that pops up is C-3PO with red eyes, as far as a Sith C-3PO. Now, that makes me more happy than anything. I don't give a shit before he goes to the dark side. Some of the comics that have come out, that when Marvel has taken over the Star Wars comics, some of the comics that have come out they're all great. They're actually all really good. And I've collected a lot of them. I kind of pared it back. The one thing that I've collected every one of, and I will never miss a series, is anything to do with Darth Vader, because Marvel is actually knocking Darth Vader out of the park. Like, there's an entire series about him having to go kill a Jedi to get his lightsaber, to get the crystal out of it, and then corrupt the crystal to make his own lightsaber.
Yeah.
Now, this was like a 6-comic process, and while he was corrupting that fucking crystal to turn it red, to kill it, basically, it showed him all the other paths he could have taken as a great Jedi.
Yeah.
It was great. They're great. And in those comics, they introduce basically a dark version of C-3PO and R2-D2, which is the C-3PO counterpart is 000 or Trip Zero, and he is a translation droid that specializes in torture.
Nice.
And R2D2 is just packed to the gills with he's like BTK, I think, or BT something, BT1, I think that's his designation. But he's just packed to the gills with missiles and lasers.
That's awesome.
Like, he's an assassination droid, so he just like bebops into a place and just like murders everybody. Yeah, it's so much fun. So I if they go down that vein, I will be entertained to no end. Yeah, both of these were, of course, both of these droids were reactivated. They've been deactivated for years because they were so dangerous. But of course, Vader reactivated him once he became Darth Vader. Good
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, I find it hard to believe that they would end the series on a note of Rey being evil, but that'd be a fun twist, you know?
I'm down.
Yeah, me too. Because, I mean, Rise of Skywalker could mean, you know, it doesn't say, that doesn't, I don't know, I watched the trailer. I don't think from a marketing standpoint they're going to make her the bad guy, but.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I'll see it. That's what, December?
Yeah, it's
December 20th. Yeah, word.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's been freaking out about it. They're like, she Star Wars trailer? No. Well, why not? It's because I'm done getting excited for Star Wars trailers. But I like Star Wars.
Like Rachel, I think Rachel said something the other day. She's like, "Oh, they got a new Star Wars trailer out." I was like, "Oh, I'll watch it in a minute."
Yeah,
that's
one of those things where it's like, okay, well, and the thing is it's not that more Star Wars is not welcome, but when you have this many Star Wars movies and properties running, so like it gets to the point where it's not a surprise anymore. Like when they made a new Star Wars movie. When they made Phantom Menace, that was a big deal because the first one in a long time, and then we didn't think we'd get any more, and then they made a new one, and it was pretty good, and then so it's like, okay, cool, but now we're gonna get like yearly movies. I think they said after this one it's gonna be alternating. They're gonna, because they own, think about this, they own Fox now, so they have all, because there's like 6 Avatar movies or some shit in production right now.
Yeah.
So what they're gonna, they don't want to have them competing, so it's gonna be they're gonna alternate Star Wars movie, Avatar movie every year. Like that's gonna be the.
So at what point do we tell them that they are the dealer and we are the junkies?
I mean, I think their $1 billion profits have already told them that, Justin. That
that ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed a long time ago. And I love it how people are like throwing up like, oh yeah, well the owner to Marvel is a huge donator to Donald Trump. Of course he is. He's filthy rich. I'm still going to see these fucking movies, dude.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Like, whenever people tell me that, I'm like, you know what? I guarantee you that the board of directors of Miller Lite and or Xbox are, I would say, 80% to 90% conservative. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't give a shit. Everybody's like, capitalism's ruining the world. I'm like, no. It gets some things right, like Captain Morgan, Miller Lite, and Xbox. They bring those things to me, and I'm happy.
Unregulated capitalism is bad.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Shay. Let's wrap this shit up. We've been going for a while. We're having a good time. We enjoy doing this. You guys listen, and we are surprised.
Every time.
Every time somebody listens to this, we're surprised because we have fun doing it, and we hope you enjoy listening to it. You can, of course, find us on the SoundClouds, the Google Plays, the iTunes, the YouTubes. We got a Twitter it's at WoodsCast1776 because fuck Alex Jones and his shtick. And also at the Facey Spaces and the My Books at WoodsCast1776. If you have a question and or comment or would like to talk about how lame Shay is, hit us up at thewoodscast1776 at gmail.com. Also, if you would like to email us and say how many times we're allowed to put Dave on the podcast, apparently that's come up. Yeah. Apparently, like shoot us an email and be like, hey, a little bit too much Dave.
A little too
yeah. Yeah. So that's how that works. All right. So, Shay, say goodbye to the nice people.
Toodles.
Hail Hydra.